we can chat about things, what we remember in this horrible piece of music we put together. We can listen to it. We can do all kinds of whatever. But I figured it'd be fun to reminisce because, good grief, it's been...
Because we're old and that's what old people do.
Yeah, I mean...
100.
What?
It's 100.
Oh, 100. Yeah. I was like, what?
With his street lingo.
That's right. When you
no
teach
counts.
kids.
Double underline. Slightly off center.
When you teach kids all day.
I don't even know where to start, but yeah, it's been 10 years since we put this out. Put it out Wednesday, December the 21st, 2011. Recorded it in 8 days. Did the home recording, mixed it at Blue Chair, which was a fiasco.
It did get mixed at Blue Chair?
It did get mixed. I had to do it over 2 different days because Derek took it and I didn't understand how things needed to be organized. So Derek took all the files while I was at work and he's texting me throughout the whole thing. He spent 5 or 6 hours and all they got done was DTA and I'm like, what's going on there? Because all the he had to look for the folders and what was the final.
Oh, they weren't
labeled and all this kind of stuff and I had kind of labeled them, but I didn't understand the easiest way to do it. And then he had to convert them because he does it in 48 megahertz or whatever he does there. And then finally Derek's like, should we keep going? I'm like, no, just stop because this is costing us costing us money. But then we went back like a month later and he knocked them all out like real fast. As soon as we had them all labeled, he goes, oh, okay, threw them all up in there. And thankfully, we recorded them well enough, except for the drums were sounding like he was hitting trash cans. But yeah, it didn't take him long. He knocked them out in like 3 or 4 hours, something like that. Which is amazing to me because not that our stuff is complicated, but there's 10 songs.
There's nuance, man. We're very, you can't really put a certain sound on us, really. Like, each of our albums kind of has a different, whether it's better produced or not, like, that one has such a good, like, even if it was mixed at Blue Chair, it has such a good DIY quality to it that, just really makes it that much more lovable.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel like this is where we started to play around a little bit more, as well as started writing better. Because on Your Music Is Bad, yeah, we had all the time in the world to do it, but I don't think anybody was really interested or understood to go, oh, hey, let's do, multiple guitar tracks and things, and you weren't playing any around on the bass, we're doing all these other things. It was just kind of like, this is how we play it live, this is how the song sounds, and we didn't expand it on out to other stuff.
I think the original mood to everything was just, we're all bad, this is all open-y, just we're just writing stupid stuff with absolutely like the littlest amount of thought possible, and then just kind of going from there, but not really putting too much extra things into it, at least until the final touches on like the albums and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't just stand there. Really, we expanded a lot on that concept.
Oh.
No, I think a lot of that is also, like when I first joined, I think at the time you guys had the bones for Unemployed and Mama's, well, not even Mama's Boy, because we didn't start that until I got there.
After.
But like Unemployed had that very trashy techno or trashy industrial beat to it, and that was kind of the thing. And then we did Mama's Boy, and it had that R&B sound at parts, and that was kind of like a joking conversation. It's like, what if every song had this weird hook to it, like it was a different influence or whatever? And I think that kind of opened our mind on what we could do songwriting.
For sure.
It wasn't just power chord. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of power chords, but there's a little more thought put into what was happening.
Yeah. I think just time and experience, because you guys joined in 2009. We started recording these songs like a year later, so we've been playing together for a year. And even though, the songs still sounded kind of like a different sort of a genre, but we started like, this is now, you could pick a song and go, that sounds like T3. Maybe not, what's the genre of it? But you're like, that sounds like a Travis, that sounds like a Bill, that sounds, kind of thing in there. And it sounds like a more cohesive thing, not just a whole bunch of random shit thrown at the wall.
Yeah.
I still do that.
Oh, we know you do.
You still throwing shit at walls?
Yeah.
Your poor wife.
So the first question I want to ask you,
Yeah.
is, whenever an album's released, we kind of get surprised by especially the skits. Who's the homeless guy that you mic'd and got to read? Whatever you had to have written that.
I did write that.
Oh,
Who
intro?
is that?
That's Jock.
Yeah, that's Jock. That's my friend Jock. Well, Janice's friend Jock and my friend now Jock. Yeah, because I thought about that. Okay, so.
And I apologize to this guy. I don't mean to say that you're homeless. It just kind of reminded me like
You
found
sound like a homeless.
some
You sound like a
guy
homeless
on
preacher,
a milk
yeah.
crate on a sidewalk, and you're just like, here, guy, read this.
You know what? That
Hey,
sounds,
here's your
One
$5.
take. Yeah.
that sounds more accurate than the image I had in my head. It was like, this is, some Southern Baptist black preacher in Magnolia warning the people, but I'm like, it actually, it sounds more like, a homeless guy on the corner in Magnolia
with a sign.
with a sign said, "Watch out!" That actually makes sense.
He's warning you and simultaneously enticing you.
Yeah.
Really.
Do we need to tell that story about our vendetta against Magnolia?
We sure can.
I think that's there's some.
Definitely. But when we were writing for this, I kept, my brain's like, all right, what can we do skit-wise if we're going to put skits and things in it? And when I went to a concert in Memphis, I was waiting on Ryan, and I'm flipping around on the radio stations, and I come across some preacher they've got like a radio show going on. And most of the time when you hear very excited, they're like, can I get an amen or this or hallelujah? No, he just kept saying, can I hear no problem? Because I think it was something about, like having faith or you can handle the things in front of you, but he just kept repeating, like, can I get a no problem? No problem. Can I get a no problem? No problem.
Like, all this sin over here ain't about you.
See-
Say no problem.
See, for me, I thought that was Travis.
Oh.
Like doing that skit. Like I always thought it was Travis.
No. No, but it was that, and that stuck in my head, and I wrote it down, and then when it came closer to the time to put in the album, I was like, we need an intro. We didn't have an intro song. I was like, well, let's just do that. And I wrote out this giant paragraph, and I'm like, it needs to be like eccentric, real high-spirited, and
And
I'm
I
like,
think authentic. Like if it was me, I'd have been canceled.
yeah. And if we had known Jay at this point, Jay would have been perfect to do that.
Man.
But at least I hadn't met him yet. But I knew Jock, and I was like, hey, here's this thing. I'm like, do you want to record this and put it on the album? He goes, okay. And I give it to him a couple days later. He sends it back to me. He goes, well, there's a lot of flubs and mistakes in here. He goes, you want me to listen to this and then I'll do another track? And I listen. I go, no, it's fine. Because he's like, you see him, he stumbles on it, he comes up, he adds in things where some of these sentences make zero sense, but I'm like,
no talented, no.
and then added in with the weird things I had him say makes no sense either. And like, because like my favorite is at the end where he's like, guard your women, guard your children, guard your loins, all this kind of thing. But he puts them in like a weird order, so it's like, guard your loins. I'm like, so you need to watch your junk before you watch out for your okay, whatever.
You got to take care of number one.
Yeah. He's like, are you sure? And I'm like, no, this is perfect. So every time I listen to it now, I'm repeating it in my head. I'm like, this is the funniest damn thing we have. I love it. That's so good.
So, I know it's a little off topic, but it kind of made me think about, what is the Jay timeline? When did really Jay start, because I know you've been, you and Ryan and all them knew Jay before we all did, didn't you?
I met him at Vino's, I think at a Burning the Past show.
Really?
Yeah.
Heard that laugh and you had to go talk to that guy.
I think JD Thornton. I want to say he had ran into him at some, because they were always going to whatever show was happening, and so I think they were. JD introduced us to him, I believe.
Man.
I don't know when that was.
JD has been like one of our most loyal fans. I think of all the people, and I don't know why. I mean,
he likes music.
He loves music, but it's like our music. There's other bands that play, and it's like, you just keep coming to see us and love you, man.
Those are the kind of guys you want to find. The ones that obviously have bad taste because they like your music, but they're gonna be really loyal to it.
He
anyway.
listens to extreme Swedish "I will burn down a church" death metal and our stuff. So we're in good company.
Right in the middle. It's the sweet
Well,
spot.
probably a little Die Antwerp.
Yeah.
Being from South Africa, I cannot believe I've not picked up any Afrikaans from him.
Maybe not.
Well, I may have at the time, but like I said before, drunk mostly. Yeah, no one ever thinks about it.
I don't know. I I keep looking at this like I'm gonna find inspiration
cheat
from
sheet.
it. But I had something, but then my printer didn't work, so I'm like, well, this.
Let's just kind of go down the track list. Oh, Magnolia. Like,
sure can.
I think I wrote that bass line kind of like with a sort of Mac the Knife almost like idea, like bass line in it. Kind of. I don't know. It was kind of like one of those. I had like almost this Sinatra kind of like thought in my head, but obviously kind of gets and kind of went from there with it, and we just kind of wrote around that.
Yeah, I think that's maybe one of the one songs in the album I don't remember where it came from, but I remember us working on it a lot because you guys. That's when you started getting real fancy, trying to do the like the guitar and the bass going kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And how many times were we get in the middle and then Trevor like stops? Damn it, Nick! No, that's not. You're playing my part.
And I swear, like I felt like I was playing it the exact same every time, and I knew I wasn't. I keep listening to it, going, I swear to God, I've been doing that, but I know if I mess
Do
up.
the things will lock eyes like it's coming.
Yeah.
Good.
Dogs back
Yeah.
there. And it's funny that's I think that was the last one that we wrote before we recorded. Like I think
Really?
it was either the last one, maybe we didn't start, but I think it was the last one we finished. Maybe that's why Mommy didn't want you in the buggy, but that was just kind of like.
I don't think we wrote that song. It just
I think we
it
just
wrote itself.
threw it there, yeah. But I think Magnolia was like the last one we did.
Yeah, I just played that really crappy openy bass line with the octave, and then a doo-doo-doo every once in a while.
I love it. Every time I listen to this album, I'm tempted to skip stuff around, but as soon as it gets it kind of leads in from the intro track into that song is a banger.
It is. I love that song.
And I wish, among many things with this band, I wish we got bigger, but I wish that we would have been able to play shows with a lot of people, because I feel like that's a good even opener for a show, and it's like woo, and
Yeah.
jumping around and bouncing.
Definitely.
So why do we hate Magnolia? Or why does Magnolia hate us?
Was I the only one around for that?
I think so.
Okay.
I think maybe Derek. I don't know.
I think Derek might have been there too. Yeah. So, you were hanging out. What was their name? Bel Air.
Bel Air.
Yeah, Bel Air. The band Bel Air from Magnolia. We'd go to their shows and have fun and everything, and I kept saying, "Hey, we should play a show together." And Jameson was all about it, and Wes was about it. And they're like, "Yeah, that'd be fun and everything." And then another day comes up, and they go, "Yeah, maybe not." And I'm like, "Why?" And I'm pretty sure Jameson turned and he goes, "Yeah, so some of the folks down in Magnolia think that that would be in poor taste for us to share a stage with a band called the Throbbing Testicles, and they, think that we'd be terrible for doing that because they're, super conservative and things, and so they're kind of like, yeah, maybe one day, but probably not." And I'm like, okay, so, a city we've never been to before already hates us just based on our name. I'm like, okay, that's great.
Maybe we'll be ready for this when the first black person moves in and we get a little more progressive, but right now we can't handle this genitalia talk. just a little too much for us. Our kids don't know about those things.
That was awful.
So it's just Footloose.
Yeah, that really is. It's just Footloose with testicles and fanciness and Bill woohooing throughout the band. That's always my favorite when we play live. Is you're back there behind the keys and I'm like running up. I'm like woohoo woohoo woohoo.
And Bill's woohoos get more and more unhinged.
Yeah.
As I keep running into his keyboard and bumping my ass.
Slamming into stuff. But your part there really brings it together too. It's one of the. Not that your keyboards didn't fit our stuff.
What?
But that one, every time I hear it, it's very simple, but it helps tie it all together.
Well, no, that's. Is it that one? There's one that like Derek wrote like half most of it. So.
Well, he's not here, so you can take that. You can take the credit.
Oh no.
It's okay.
Right, this is the meeting to steal all of Derek's thunder. Like Derek's thunder is going to all
He
of us.
did nothing.
I play drums on every release, even live.
That's Nick singing all the backing and like letters that are just harmonized and beautiful.
We just felt bad for Derek because he was doing nothing and screwing everything up, so we just gave him the credit for
He
it.
was that friend. You'd be like, yeah, you could be in the band. I told him he could be in the band.
Pretty sure that was
This whole
me.
time I thought it was
Why are you telling my story? Bill's gonna be in the band. What? Okay.
Yeah. It was a good time all around. We only played that song like
That's what I was thinking.
twice,
Yeah, I
maybe.
think we played it
Live.
Yeah, not very many times. I want to say we played it at Plan B once, maybe. And
Downtown Music.
Downtown Music, because we played it there before the album came out, and we played it at the Rev Room. If
So at least 3 times.
Yeah, if
So-
we remember that we played the Rev Room, I'm like, oh yeah, we did, didn't we?
so should we be keeping a tally post production of this, of every time we name a venue, tallying each one that doesn't exist
They're no
anymore?
longer active.
Like, is there a place to play other than fucking like JJ's in Conway now? Or not JJ's, TC's.
TC's, yeah.
That garbage place.
You hear that, TC's?
I walked in one night and just turned right back. I even paid the cover. Got like halfway to the bar and said, no.
No, I think the only places that we've ever played at that still exist are Vino's and the Rev Room. Because not even that Hastings that we played at exists anymore. It's even
No. Is it still just like a lump of just nothing where the village was? Or
Oh
is
yeah,
there actually still
it's
something
just
there?
that's an open field.
Can we just like
Sort of.
set up our stuff and just play
Play there anyway.
on that spot?
Beatle style?
Yeah.
I will admit that, since I work in that area a lot, I'll drive up and I'll sit in that parking lot and I'll stare at that every once in a while. There was one day that I did get out of my van and I walked over to right around where the stage was and I stood there and I'm like, we played right here once. And there was a dude smoking crack right over there, or snorting coke or whatever they were doing out in the parking lot. I'm like, right over here. Memories.
This is where Nick said drinking.
Drinking.
Told my 2 story, because that was the show right before we had our accident.
All right,
Like
after.
the
Right
car
after.
accident. Yeah, right
yeah,
after,
right
yeah.
before it. Yeah.
And then not too long before that, I knocked my damn tooth out.
No, that was before.
Well, yeah, before that, yeah, because I was telling the story about it after
Yeah,
we
okay,
played.
yeah.
So it was during Jessica Seven's performance, before we really
Yeah, before
talked much
before we did
to
them.
old Jesse Park.
Yeah. Good dude.
Good dude.
Good dude.
But yeah, we were all outside kind of BSing and all that. That was a lot of fun.
All the weird places that we have played, like the skate park thing in Conway.
Yeah, I guess we got a stage, sure.
Yeah. Well, wasn't that where, what's that? There was a song we were messing with, the,
That was,
what was it, the masturbation song or something?
No idea.
No, shit, I can't remember. The one that, like, Tracy,
It was like
like,
about
did,
puberty.
like, the
It was
little,
not about
puberty, yeah.
I
Well,
guess
hand
that
in
fits
hand,
together,
yeah.
but I guarantee you I did not write a song about jerking off. Close, Nick. Close.
You know the song where you get real sad, punch yourself in the face and jerk it? You know that song. You remember? Sing a few bars.
I'm trying to remember the bass line in my head and I can't do it because I keep thinking of something else. But it was that one that Tracy like did the like
she does the backing
thing,
vocals,
yeah.
yeah.
That one practice.
Yeah, we should go back to one of these days because that was a fun one. 'cause it
Didn't
was
we
like,
toy with Buggy? That show too.
No,
I think we did like the interlude between a couple of songs. It was like Ken and something. I think we did like that extended interlude jam thing there.
Yeah, because then we ended up using. We refined it and then used it at Juanita's like a couple weeks later. It was neat. It was way bigger than we are. Way better than we are.
And then Juanita's with the big pole in the middle of the floor, and then like for his like I love that old Juanita's, man. I hated when they moved.
Yeah.
But
It had a nicer stage though, better sound.
Yeah.
It just didn't have that feel.
Yeah, it definitely had more of a just local place, feel to it. And that's the only place. Wait, no, Vino's is the only place that I can drink Blue Moon, like on tap Blue Moon, and that's your fault. Gotta have the orange.
I tried to get it in more places. Nobody wanted to put it. Nobody wanted to stock it.
All right.
The orange shortage.
Next one there, DTA.
What was it? Dumb Taco Anthem?
Dumb Taco Anthem. Good job, Nick.
That's our Ramones ripoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. That's one of my favorite songs because we kind of We steal directly from the Ramones, yet you almost don't know it unless somebody straight up says we're playing a Ramones song, pretty much.
Yeah, it sounds like every low-key bar band punk song, complete with clappings and haze and.
Why was
Like
it
fun punk though?
Why was it picked to be like the lead off single? Like, what was the thought on that?
I have no idea.
It was short.
It was short and.
Not gonna hurt anybody's feelings, except
Yeah.
maybe the Ramones.
To me, it really felt like the bridge between the first album sound
Okay,
and the
yeah.
second album. Like it's,
I get that.
it's simple. It's go go go. It's done. There's no slow down, and it was just like, hey, like anybody was gonna, listen to our first album and get the second album, go, you've changed. We don't like it.
you've changed.
Like, anybody's gonna invest that far. But in my brain, I was like, we need to transition people into because I don't know, energy.
You gotta ease them into this new sound, man.
Here's these songs that are,
Here's
a
song
little
about
bit, a little bit of thinking, but not really.
But now here's a song about tacos.
Here's a song about tacos, because all of our songs are about animals or food
Or working.
or working, pretty much, If you go back and listen to recordings like the first couple of times, Derek had a completely different drum beat for it. It was still kind of a thing, but then out of nowhere he started basically playing Hey Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, oh, this changes it. This makes it. So when in doubt, just steal something from somebody else.
I mean,
But it worked. It worked out really well.
For sure.
Oh. And then for some reason that was the only one that we did a video for.
there's sort of one for Aguas.
I love that video. I really do. I think that video is 100% legit and official.
Yeah. But yeah, doing that video was definitely a taste of, man, if we were on a label where we had money and we were able to tour and do things and I had money to throw at all these dumb ideas, just that's the beginnings of what kind of crazy shit we could have done. I say as this we're dead and old at this point. Like, back in our day, but it's still 10 years ago. But
I feel like the presidents of the United States of America when they first started. Like Chris was like 50 when they first started. At least he looked like it.
We're just getting started, folks.
Man, we've been playing for over 15 years.
almost
It's like
15 years.
2000. Well, I say that. Sleep Knowing was what, 2006 to 8 or something,
Something like
or
that,
9,
yeah.
and there was a little bit of carryover with Testicles and all that. But it's just crazy to me that it's that long ago. Like we're in 2021 now.
Yeah. We're all
Of
old
course,
dudes.
back then you're like, this is gonna be forever. We're always gonna be playing.
I'm still doing it.
Well,
We're still here.
but there was a while where we were playing, a good stretch. We were playing like almost 2 to 3 shows a month,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really kicking. And even the nights where we'd play, Testicles would play, and then Burning the Past would play, and those were some of like the most stressful yet like memorable, like fun nights to have. Even though, I wasn't the one having to set up the drums and do a lot of the shit. Most of the time I'd just tune my bass, set it up, forget to turn it off, and then get yelled at by the sound guy as my bass falls over. But, yeah, it's just crazy. You wish you could have it back and just have more of them nights where you're just like, oh my God, this is, like, you're freaking out before it, and then you get there and you're just like, this is the most amazing thing ever. I want to keep doing this.
How many pre-stage poops did you have to do?
Oh, that's a good question.
Lots. Lots. I always felt sick. I always felt nervous. And it wouldn't go away until like 10 seconds into the first song, and then I was fine. But before that, it was just always like, why am I doing this? I don't want to do this. This is awful. This is a bad idea. Go home. No, this is what you wanted to do.
Show's canceled, folks.
Yeah.
Like me before every practice.
Yeah. My favorite of all though was that horrible show. Well, the show itself was good, but the crappy band that played before us at Downtown Music that one time that were super offensive.
Oh God!
Right before they went on stage, I was having my before show, diarrhea attack, and I destroyed their bathroom. And the guy's like banging on the door because he's like their singer and he needs to go in there to get on stage. So I'm like,
He get his dick prepped.
yeah, and then I come out and I'm like, sorry. He sticks his head. He goes, ah, and then he comes out and then he puts his mask on. I'm like, oh, it's that ass. Okay, that's fine. But it was
That was when they had that thing on their banner about the
anchor.
that got
Anchor,
murdered.
yeah. Those people were terrible.
Yeah.
Buck, I say to that.
Edgelords and their unfunniness.
I bet they're big on 4chan right now.
The next one on there, Teeth, that is one of the few songs that you wrote,
Yeah, I was just fucking around on the keyboards and
which you found something good. Like, I don't know how many songs. There are a couple that you were the genesis of Teeth.
yeah, just octaves and like basically techno. That's literally like in my brain. It's like almost like a techno beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
'Cause if you took like the Teeth riff that the keyboard has and put that over like the trash can sound of
Yeah.
of the other, and it's straight up like techno or house music.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah.
For sure.
A bunch of spoots behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. If somebody wants to remix that, there you've got the head start.
Well, you got like the high pitched gangsta, like you can hear it being behind like some kind of Compton rap from like the '90s. You know, like that.
I also stole some of that.
Yeah.
from the other
I hear that a
stuff.
lot on the self-titled EP.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the keyboard, like on
Black Rock.
man.
Yeah.
It's like that is just straight San Andreas.
Yeah.
Sounds so cool.
Someone needs to sample us. Is what needs to happen.
Get at it, TikTok.
Well, that's the irony of that is.
Of Teeth, yeah.
Yeah, so when I put the album up on digital distribution, and TikTok wasn't a thing, but now TikTok is, so I guess it just kind of opted in there. I don't know how TikTok works, but yeah, I look on there one day and I'm like, hey, our music's here, and I search and I see that Teeth has been put on like 3 or 4 different videos, and they're all exactly the same. It's somebody filming their dog or their cat that's missing a tooth or chewing on something, and it's just got a little snippet of Teeth in there. But somebody in August of this year from Israel or something had a semi-viral whatever, and so we've gotten well over 20,000 streams of Teeth just on TikTok.
Do you have any of these videos like on tap?
I've tried to find them, and the only thing I can find is there's another song where it's like very happy sounding. Sometimes my lips get stuck on my teeth, and they show their dogs doing the
Yeah.
TikTok break.
I mean, it's stuff like
What?
Well, I guess kind of to continue a little bit more about like the writing of the song, I felt like I kind of used an idea that I like a really really dumbed down James Brown song. Like what's that one song where he's talking real deep to a woman, about what he's gonna do to her.
Ain't that like all of his songs?
Yeah.
Sure.
But the bass line. But
The phrase "what he's gonna do to her." Red flag.
This was the '60s.
Yeah,
You
no,
didn't have that.
You can hit a woman back then. It's fine.
And she would smile and like it.
What was going on?
Edit.
I'm talking about James Brown, not me.
But it's kind of a dumbed down James Brown bass line because there was one song. It's like do 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 do. And I just.
This is how we write songs.
Yeah, I find a song that I can't play. Then I'm like, how can I fake this song? And then yeah.
and then that's definitely how you describe it too. I remember you kind of like, hey, I have something in my head.
It goes like,
Derek's like, what? Yeah. Derek's like, oh, that's a C, that's an F, and then that's a...
Derek, why are you trying to ruin this for me?
It's 5, 4, 1, open 1.
Yeah.
All on the E string. I don't go on the A or the or the G. I'm all on the E string.
I just love that it goes from, this weird sounding thing, and it just divulges into like a heavy metal song.
Yeah. There was a big part of what I liked about the album too was that we really started embracing progression in songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I really feel Monsters is like the result of like a lot of growth in songwriting for all of us, because that song right there sounds, as far as structure, really hits this stride. Like, I love the first half. When that second half starts, and it's just like we don't go back to the chorus again. It's just solo, like slowed down part, and then it gets heavy, and then it has that little slowed down part again, then it gets heavy at the end, and there's an intensity to it that I really enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
I can't tell you how many times. So since we're talking about it, because when we wrote Monsters, the newest one that's not on this, for the 5 of you watching, because we had like that first minute and a half pretty much set in stone years ago, and we never knew how to end it. And so when Robert and I were talking about how to end it, or how just to finish the song, I came up with a couple of different ideas, and eventually that's what stuck. I threw a couple together, and that's what stuck. And I was, how much I was in my head about, this never goes back to the beginning. It doesn't really. That's why. Other than that, like half
all
of
I wanted to do was just go to sleep.
That one bass lick that goes back to the verse bass for a second. I was like, I threw that in there just because I'm like, this is 2 songs put together. I just went Kiss,
and that was perfect.
Yeah, and so I'm glad people are liking it, because I was in my head about it for a long time. I'm like, this is dumb. This is bad songwriting. Like,
oh no, I love it. Yeah, I really like it.
good.
Kind of makes me almost not want to be a part of the final songwriting process, because you're way better.
I'll just send stuff to you. You tell me if you like it. Just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. And,
That's it.
yeah. Consulting by Nick Mortensen.
Happy face, sad face, sideways face.
Elvis.
Oh, I think that was also the first time we got a taste of your scary, angry vocals on a song.
Mm-hmm.
Singing about brushing your teeth.
I was listening to this week, just the album in preparation for this, and I just forgot how it sounds. Like, I don't even know how to make that voice. Like, that's not a voice that's in my normal repertoire. Like, I don't know what pits of hell I channeled to.
It's the anger and aggression at the dental community who's not insuring you and doing things.
You imagine somebody cut in front of you at McDonald's, and your rage comes out.
It's really just an indictment of the way our system's set up, the 2-party system. It's
Yeah. To me, that song is almost like the perfect harmony of the original idea of T3 with we're making good music now. It's catchy, it's heavy, it's this with the stupidest lyrics.
Oh,
and the intense, like I'm saying, like you're so intense, like you must wash and brush your teeth.
And my mom, being a dental assistant, she showed that to her boss at the time, and the whole office loved that song. They thought it was amazing.
Man, I remember like DTA, it's like, we had serious conversations like, somebody should get a hold of Taco Bell. Because Taco Bell's Twitter at the time was like super buck wild. Like,
oh, yeah.
The marketing they were doing, it's like, we need to get that at Taco Bell. And then you remember you saying that about your mom, and it's like, we need to get a hold of the dental associate. Man, we're for hire.
Oh, yeah.
Well, wasn't this at the height of like insurance companies putting like undiscovered bands on their commercials?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that how OK Go started? Like
Something like
or
that.
some band like that?
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Or So we were just trying to get in on that honeypot and got battered away real quick. Cause I want to say like you did send it in, and they're like, we don't want that.
No, Taco Bell had a Canada Facebook page, and I posted it there, and they're like, "That's cool." And I'm like, "No, let's. I know that you're not the company, but because that
You know somebody.
Yeah, even if you took out my stupid lyrics at DTA, like I could hear that song in a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's commercially viable, I think.
I mean, TACO at least, like that part itself.
Yeah.
I mean,
But,
yeah.
you know, whatever.
Except for when I get off beat.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it.
But yeah,
What do you do?
and
With a doggy. Doggy.
I kind of thought you were like a seal. And
I was listening to it, like, there's Bill.
I think the entire time that whole week, there was stressful moments of recording this album, and there was when we all came in to do extra vocals on that song. I think that was my favorite part. I'm like, all right, so here I'm thinking, everybody's gonna do TACO. What after that? Just a lot of noises and woo, and then there's just the things that you kind of pick in pieces, and then at some point Travis is like, somebody touch my butt!
And it sounds like Angry Birds.
It does.
Yeah, it does. It really does. What kind of backtrack a little bit. And we also have this good tendency to like have a really funny like little tiny thing to like close a song on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh Magnolia. Who does the like at the very end?
Bill.
Is that
That's
you?
all
I mean,
Bill.
I love that. It ends it perfectly. Yeah, just super creepy.
I'm like, you just do woohoos, and then he just threw it in. I'm like,
And then yeah, we
stay in there.
Somebody let Bill off his leash.
and then we turn into Angry Birds at the end of DTA and
Oh, nothing beats. Can you guess what Bill's trying to say in the closet?
Mazel, mazel.
Doing
Mazel, 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 mazel.
Doing Razzle Mazel was my favorite thing, and I still want to go back, especially now that you haven't been recording the stuff with us, and you haven't, I'm sure, heard the songs very well. I want to just throw them at you and have you record both of them. Completely blind now. That I think that would be great. Like
Free
here,
association
The B
singing.
side.
here are the lyrics. Here's this, and just Bill sings the hits part 2 and 3 and 4 as we move forward.
And then foul play.
Foul play.
My daughter's favorite song in the world.
Awesome.
That for the longest time that was my favorite song of ours because it's everything. It's very high energy. It's there. It punches. And it's just.
That was one of the first ones we did for this album, wasn't it? I think I remember that being one of the first songs we worked. Because I remember you had the pretty much the whole song.
But it was all out of order.
Yeah, like all
you
the
guys
parts.
fixed it, yeah.
And I remember just watching Nick play it, and I remember watching his
brain
hand,
work.
and I'm just like, this is fucking amazing. Like, this is so cool.
But yeah, I had it all out of order, and I just remember us playing it and then like trying to figure it out. And I want to say between practices, either you or Derek or y'all worked together kind of without me in the room. And you're like, all right, let's.
I think it was me and Derek. Yeah, I think we kind of put the pieces together.
Because
And
I feel like you had the chorus in the place of the verse and the verse in the place of chorus.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And you was
Yeah.
like, this guy. Oh, that's better. You know.
And then, NSFW part of the conversation. Just remember, after we got a lot of the songs structured, we never had the idea yet, but I got really high and took a shower and thought of that duck rap. That was a stoned in the shower, just started thinking about this
I
thing.
remember you telling me that.
And I'm telling you, I must have spent like 45 minutes in the shower because I could not. I didn't want to leave that headspace. Like, it was perfect.
Hang on, gotta take another hit.
It's some good shit.
Yeah, because remember we were in the middle of writing that song, and you either texted that to me or you called me, or you're like, I have the perfect things put in there, and I'm like, yeah, okay, all right. But then that part of the song led to that. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. All right, but you're doing that, not because I'm gonna be honest. Most of the time over the years, when you've been like, hey Robert, you should do this here, and I'm like, yeah, okay. When you have some gems.
Every once in a while, I'm very hit or miss, But it was like in the height of all of our like big Mitch Hedberg like stuff and all that, because especially
there's some Mitch references.
it goes to the
Yeah.
Subway to get some bread, that kind of stuff, I don't know where it came from or why I even thought of it. It just started, and I was like, this I can't throw this away. I have to remember this.
Well, it makes for a good 1-2 punch. You got my screechy nasally vocals, and then in the middle there's just this rap. It's good.
And the meaning of the song in general, even though the rap has nothing to do with anything about the song, I want to say it's probably like your most pointed, kind of like aggressive song lyrically.
Well, I think that was the first song I realized that was like, Robert's actually saying some shit on his lyrics, as dumb or as sometimes seemingly innocuous as they are. Like, there's a lot of allegory.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do. We're the stupidest, most simple band ever, but I'm like, where can I get my fix of things? I'm like, I put layers and shit. Where if you want to listen to it and go, it's a song about
Isn't that
animals
cute?
and food, great. Or if you're like, this sounds like something, or you can relate it. It's whatever you want to do.
And I think Foul Play also has one of those. It's one of those songs that it really brings up imagery in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can see a video for it, and it involves angry ducks with kazoos for some reason. Like, the guitar tone, it's like this. It's this good, like
This good, awful.
scratchy,
Oh, gosh,
awful,
yeah.
but still really cool sound. But it reminds me of just like a kazoo put like a detuned kazoo.
Yeah. The kazoo that's been through some shit.
Yeah, like during the the chorus, I could just see like a row of just simultaneous marching ducks, like coming after something like Revolutionary War ducks.
And the like the storm siren thing that Bill does at the end, like that always. I was like, man, it sounds like shit's about to happen.
Yeah.
Like,
Going to war with those ducks.
It sounds almost like it should be a companion piece to robots.
yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a prequel.
When you added the I guess it was called the duck sound of the guitar
Yeah.
tone. Before that, I was like, oh, this is fun, but that just adds in there. But man, that sound by itself is awful.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's hard to play. It's hard to
Sounds like a
play
duck.
cleanly because like if you're not super precise, it sounds even worse, and it's not musical. It's just crap.
Noise.
Yeah, it's just noise. Like it's the toughest thing to play because of how sensitive it is.
There's definitely no surprising anyone with that song at a show or something because you gotta find that tune.
Yep.
As soon as you hear that, you're like, oh, we're
It
playing
could
that
have
play.
been. It could have been the end of August because it's the
Oh,
same
yeah.
sound. I just turned the volume
Oh,
down,
yeah.
That's true.
You would usually play
or the main part of
the
August.
parts with the ducks. You just usually play that with one hand, wouldn't you?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
If I wanted to
I would look at you.
if I wanted to
You're always
show
just
off.
doing this thing, and I'm like, hey, not use this other hand.
I can play 2 notes with one hand. I'm so
Yeah.
talented.
Oh, who and when did you record the opening part to that? We're feeding duckies.
Oh, when I was up in college, there was a pond that was near there, and even though up in Idaho it's ice, everything there was pond. It was full of ducks, and I don't know why they'd be there. But I went up there with one of my roommates and his girlfriend. We're like, I'm just filming stuff. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, we're feeding duckies. I'm like, okay. And then later I'm like, I'm putting that in there.
Duckies.
That's one of the great things about you always recording everything is that there's always something that you can
Yep.
pick out.
It's because I have a terrible memory, so I have to record and backtrack on everything.
That's how he's been able to record most of my stuff again
Yep.
and cuss me to heck in your own way.
Yep. 'Cause yeah, this song. Okay, so you did a great job in the end, but man, Bill,
Is this the one?
This was the one. It took you like an hour and a half to do. It's either the pre-chorus or the chorus. It goes da 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 da, and I'm like 1 and 2 and 1, and you're like brah, boom.
And do you know how many times I wanted to turn and punch Bill in the face at shows because he would not get there? I think he was doing it just to troll me because I swear he'd be looking at me and just like smile like, what you gonna do, bitch?
Sometimes.
You're gonna fuck with
Because at this point, we're very fortunate that they let us borrow this mixer for free, but we only have it for a week, and we're on day 6 or whatever. I'm like, I have done no vocals. I think Travis still had some guitar parts maybe left, and here we're doing. I'm like, okay, keyboards. This should be nice and easy because months beforehand, I pulled Bill aside after practice. I'm like, do you have stuff written for this yet? And he goes, no. All right, let's meet up here at the practice space, just you and me, and we'll write together. And so we, Bill's fleshing it out, and they took it home. And to be fair, you had stuff. I'm like, good. But then when we get to the studio, we sit down to record it. It took you like 8 hours to record your keyboard parts. And I'm trying very hard. I'm like, okay, Bill is my friend. This is a fun thing. We're having fun, but I'm like, I'm getting stressed because we're running out of time and all these kind of things. And then I'm like, what are you doing this part? He goes, no. I'm like, okay, so you're doing what the guitar is doing, basically. Okay, cool. So, no, Bill, listen to what it's doing here. Oh, okay, yeah, I got it. Da 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 da. Da da da. Got it.
That's totally the TikTok thing where it's like, friend, work. Do it right, go.
It's just a meme.
But you got it. It worked out. But yeah, that's I remember getting particularly frustrated with you during that song. But it was good. That was also a song that, so when I came back from school 2010, we had, for a week, when we recorded it at Blue Chair to do this self-titled thing, we had that one practice at whoever's house you guys were practicing at the time. Roxanne, okay.
Oh.
And that's where you started just janking around with with foul play there. I'm glad I recorded that because when I came back in August, I'm like, hey, this is a thing, and we started doing it. the couple of shows we played in 2010, we finished Foul Play, but it had a completely different chorus. Vocally. Not musically.
That's
vocally,
right,
yeah.
yeah. Because wasn't it just the ducks are coming the ducks are coming the whole time?
And I was like, oh, this is fine. But then we didn't play it for a minute, and I sat, and I'm like...
So I'm trying to remember that too, because I remember we played it live with that version, and I remember my brother went to one of our shows. He's like, "He's got to do something with that chorus." And I don't remember if I talked to you about it or if you had your own, the independent thought of it, but
I don't remember. But but I remember thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, something, because it's okay, but it's just like it picks up, and then it's like,
And I love the lyrics you came up with for that song too. Like it's really good.
But yeah, I remember being at work at the bookstore where I wrote almost the entire album in like a month in my breaks. Mm-hmm. I remember sitting there thinking like, if this song comes back, we need to fix it. And putting that down, I go, this might work. But I'm like, it's gonna require some backing vocals. And I'm like, Nick could do it. I'm like, or I could make Travis do it. I don't know. But I remember bringing that, and you're like, this is, because it was like, it's tricky to stick that in there. The original way that I was like, it should be this, and you're like, I don't think I can play that and sing that at the same time.
I don't remember exactly.
I will say I do really enjoy your backing vocals in that in the chorus too. Like,
because that. Because when I do the guitar part on that one is one of the more active. And it's one of those things, we used to do it a lot in Sleep Knowing, that like I would pick the most involved guitar parts to do some kind of syncopated vocal, which is not easy to do.
Oh, Silly Rabbit, man.
Yeah. And so it was like one of those where I've got to get, okay, this has to be muscle memory and this has to be muscle memory.
Yeah.
And I know live I screwed it up a lot because it would be like the ducks are coming, the ducks are coming, the ducks are coming, the ducks are coming. Kind of like there was a slight variation, and I think I just did it the second way the whole time.
Yeah.
Because it fit with how my fingers were moving.
That sounds great.
And the human body is a weird thing of interconnected muscles, and it's just what it wants to do.
Yet you're like the most amazing drummer ever.
That is not true. That is not true.
Yeah. But it worked out, because at the time, the furthest thing from my brain was, hey, write something that will just sound great. It was more something we have to recreate live, or it's not gonna. Because that's always been my biggest thing is like, you have a band, they have an album, it's fantastic, but then you listen to it live, it's garbage. And I'm like, I want it to sound better live than on an album, but we weren't at that point of doing that. So I'm like, if this is going to be done, it's got to be, somebody's got to sing these backing vocals. And anytime I'd ever ask, Derek, I'm like, hey, you do it. No, I can't sing and play at the same time. I'm like, you put a microphone. I can't do it. I'll hit it. Well, put a head. No. I'm like, you're telling me you're like the most talented musician in the whole tri-state area, and you can't sing and play drums at the same. No. I'm like, no, you're lazy. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, we can go. I'm always down to do backing vocals. I just know my voice is garbage. That's always my thing. It's like, I'll do it. I mean, at your own detriment, I'll do it.
I totally disagree. I think you honestly have like a good voice for backing vocals, and I think you have a good voice just for talking. Like you have a very just good voice in general. Mine, on the other hand, I want to kill myself every time I listen to myself.
We were talking about that earlier. I was like, recording some of this stuff, I was like, anytime you isolate my backing vocals, like, I'm usually happy with how it sounds in the mix, but if you isolate it, I sound like fucking dying. It's just bad voice. The video of us practicing where you're going, that was just to entertain the boys.
That was amazing.
It's an angry bear wanting his honey for bees. Yeah.
Use Jack Bauer also for something in the new album.
That was because that was during this period too.
Yeah.
What? How? Where did that come from? Like, I know we were at a practice, but
me and Travis were totally just loving 24 and Jack Bauer, and I just had to sing about Jack Bauer, and and it was kind of in the height of my being able to do an impression of Sting, just in like
sexually.
Yeah, right. After my 3-hour yoga session, but just doing little stupid things, and I had like at the time just a decent like kind of stupid, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he was just playing some random thing that it's almost undiscernible like what you're really playing. It just sounds kind of like you're noodling on something, and Derek's doing something and you're laughing in the background.
Is that the same practice that, or at the same time when you like tuned your guitar down to like, you said something like, it's like somewhere south of B? Is that when you were doing that?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Either way, it's craziness. Yeah, because that was, we did that like the last practice like right before that Juanita show, and I'm like, oh, that's a promo right there. There we go. If this doesn't get people excited about our show, nothing will.
We had some of the best promos, and they get seen like 5 times.
Yeah, your promo game is good.
You know, there's more views on Monsters than there is in like any of our songs that don't just stand there on YouTube.
Thanks.
I don't think it counts my views because I listen to our shit so much. Like,
Maybe it does, and that's why.
Well, that's what happened when we had our stuff on MySpace back in the day. I'm like, wow, we got like 30 listens today, and Nick's like, oh, that was me. I'm like, all right, well, whatever.
Oh man, back in the Sleep Knowing days, there was that one glitch where it looked like we had like 8,000 views overnight, and then it was just like, no, that didn't happen. Actually, there was a memory I had on Facebook that it was while Facebook and MySpace were kind of having their little overlap, and I had a link to our old Sleep Knowing page, and it actually had a couple pictures that weren't broken, like that first video when we played our first show at that backyard place, or wherever that was.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like at Aura's old house or some shit?
That.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a couple, like there was one of you with the old font and the eye and playing guitar, and everything else was broken and none of the songs worked, but they were still listed.
Huh.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty neat. So throwback. I don't think I could go back and listen to myself, but I like everything else as long as I can just
It was good
cut
stuff.
myself out.
It was good stuff.
Then December fun.
Good.
It was a good learning experience.
Starting
Good,
point,
good for
yeah.
growing, yeah.
It still gave the vibe of when I met you guys and I heard the songs, you played them on the radio show, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm familiar with this. And then when I saw you live for the first time, as soon as one of those songs kicked in, it's the same as seeing a band that I'd heard on the radio. I'm like, oh, I know this song. You know, the feeling popped in. And then you started singing. I was like, that went way back down.
And now he's rubbing his tummy.
Doing the tummy dance.
No, nothing beats like being reintroduced to Travis where you're like, didn't we work together?
I know you. I used to work with you.
Oh, I was so incelly back then.
You and Bob.
Yep.
Bob.
I actually talked to him a little bit recently.
I miss that guy. I kind of wish he could just pop up, just say hi.
Yeah, we were gonna do a thing like to get together, and like he was gonna bring his new dude over, and we were gonna cook and drink and have a good time, and then I think there was like Tracy's grandfather passed or something, and then life happened, and then here we are. But yeah, we still got to hang on the books at some point.
Hell yeah. Always about that.
Yeah. Were you with Derek when you guys came up with That's Why Mama Didn't Want You in a Buggy? Were you there?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us where that came from.
So Derek and I are just walking around like Walmart, I'm pretty sure, and we're just like basically killing time. And like all of a sudden we hear like this mom yelling at this kid, like because this kid's like just like, and we're on the same like just dumping in the buggy, and or something. And that's like the mom's like, that's why I didn't want you in the buggy. I was like, that's it. That's it. That's
got legs.
And it just took its own course, and like it's on for me. That's my favorite song on there.
Yeah.
Like just because I'm like it takes me to the moment. I'm like these parents are crazy.
I think that was the song that I first used the only song that I used that distortion on that effects pedal that just never wanted to work consistently.
Oh, yeah.
I still have it. I just don't have any means to use it right now. I hate it. But it was just such a stupid, simple like fuzz line that just stayed the same pretty much the whole time and just gave space for things to happen, and it was.
But I remember like the way we recorded that too, because there was never any structure to it.
No.
And it was just like, well, it's probably about 2 minutes long. And then Derek just goes, okay, it just shuts the door and starts playing drums. Let me know when it's been 2 minutes. And so I was like, I think I was in the room with you where the mixer was. And I remember like, And he just just doing it all like with no backing track or anything, just Derek laying down the beat.
And I don't know if it was just the way I played it at the time when it got recorded, because I don't think I played that. Did I actually play that in like with everybody, or was that something that was taken from another thing?
Well, you did it by yourself.
Yeah.
Because there was never any structure to it, but it got played and written around for like the very small variations that I put in, and then at the very end when it goes do do, like just barely, and that's how it ends.
Well, it was also chopped and screwed some in the studio, wasn't it? Like so. They kind of gave it some form.
Yeah.
We
in post.
Yeah. So Derek kind of structured it. You played that bass line throughout almost the entire thing, and then Travis threw his noises on there, and Bill threw his stuff on. And when we got in there, we're like, all right, this isn't an unholy mess.
Because that's how we roll.
Yeah. So we're like, we can if we remove the vocals here, here, and here, it creates a verse, not verse kind of structure. And then if we take, these noises and move Travis's thing here and just kind of restructure it kind of worked.
That was one, because we had an issue when we were recording that every once in a while you wouldn't know it until after the fact.
The tracks wouldn't sync.
The tracks wouldn't sync, and it was all slowed down.
Too,
so but we were just like, it's fine, whatever. Because I remember the only thing that's really noticeable on there's a little part I play like higher up, like a solo, whatever. It's higher notes. It's not a solo. But it lined up with the beat, but it doesn't on the song because it's whatever weirdness was going on when we recorded.
I know exactly the part you're talking about. And this is always going to be a moment of contention between you and me.
Yeah, because you like it.
I love the way it sounds.
In my brain, I'm like, this isn't as intended.
I think that because it's like the and
it sounds fine. It sounds fine. It just doesn't line up.
That's how it was supposed to sound on the album,
right.
but
now it's just like.
There's video of Bill recording that, and you're getting so happy as you're singing. You're like, this is why mommy didn't want you in that bike.
Billy's time to shine.
You got so excited. Those are the parts that we had to move, because you had it there, but it was like, here's the beat, and you're like all over the place.
Because that's what I do.
Yeah, but it's just you're so excited, you're laughing, and I'm like, this is great, this is fun.
Those ha-ha-ha-has are natural.
Yeah. But
I love the ending of that song though.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that I'm always curious about is you, especially now asking, you were there when they said it. We had it titled, so instead of saying that's why do you always say this is why?
I don't know.
Because he's a hipster. Look at those
It
glasses.
flows good though.
It does, but I always look at it and I go, should we change the title? I'm like, no, I'm keeping it as that. But I was like, that's gonna bother me.
It's one of life's great unanswered mysteries. Why did mommy not want you in the buggy? Well, this is why.
Yeah.
The song brings up an image to me that the buggy's really a portal to hell. And and mommy is like being consoled by the devil. It's like, don't put the kid in there. He's gonna go to hell, but you do it anyway. It's just falling
and that's where the robots came from in regular.
Yeah.
But before we,
This album tells the story.
it does. Before we hit Rated R though, like honestly, at one point in time, Derek and I were brainstorming, and we had a full story from like if we were gonna do a video album, and it was gonna be like, we get into trouble in Magnolia. They hate us because we're playing taco songs, and then we would stumble into a dentist office, and that's where we get arrested. And we would somehow, the cops are ducks, and then it was going to be like a foul play was going to be in a confined like jail cell-esque thing where there were going to be cameras everywhere in this small little thing. And then weird shit's happening, and
Buggy
the
would have
robots,
been the tonal shift. Like
That could-
shit's
that-
about
yeah.
to get
It would have
crazy.
been the voicemail from the first album.
Yeah.
Because there's a tonal shift on the first album.
And then robots, it continues kind of that dark sort
then it
of.
just
Well, that would have been a bigger problem.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
there's robots.
so basically.
And then the robots have vegetables, and then everybody hates vegetables.
But yeah, then later when we weren't gonna do that, I had a fully fleshed out idea for a video for robots that I wish we could do, because it was gonna be stupid as hell.
I remember this conversation.
Yeah, it was gonna open up like all of us and like a small smattering of people. We're having like a picnic in a park somewhere, but everybody was gonna be like finely dressed yuppie. Imagine like 1920s, whatever. Everyone's got like their hair slicked, and everyone's like, oh,
With our parasols.
yeah, stuff like it would open up like in the middle of some joke at the tail end of it, and then it would be like, and then in the end, Jameson sucks. Everyone's gonna go, ah, ha, 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 and you just laugh all terrible. And then, you know, like, let's play a song. You know, yes, chaps, let's do that. You know, then we'll play the song, and as the song's going on, you know, in the background, there's the crunk bot approaching. And then at some point, you know, he gets close, and everybody's doing it, and then Bill, like, notices it, and he's like, okay. And then the crunk bot's, like, dancing, so Bill dances, and then the crunk bot, like, then, like, the eyes, like, shift mad, and, like, knocks the keyboard over, and Bill's like, oh, okay, you know. And then it would shift to crunk bot chasing us down the streets as the songs continued to get to that middle part.
And you had footage of that. You had some footage
I did.
of Brian in
I
Crunk
started
Bot.
doing test footage for this. And then we would eventually end up in a... we would end up at, like, downtown somewhere, in, like, in a back alley. And that's where it would, you know, hit that part right before, you know, where it's just all synth and the drums. And that would extend for a period where, you know, we're like, oh shit, we're gonna die, and then that's when he pulls out a boombox and he would hit it, you know, there it's like, whang, whang, you know.
Yeah.
And then it would turn, and then like other robots would beam down, and now it's a breakdancing battle.
What's that story?
Yeah, pretty much. And so it would be like a one-on-one thing, and we'd all, you know, do some kind of dance and whatever. And then, you know, like maybe one person would beat this robot and the other person, and then it would get to like Nick would do some crazy thing, and it would cut to a robot that has no arms and legs, just feet, and it would just do this. But that robot beats out Nick. And so, you know, we're all just like, and Nick's like, I don't know. And then, you know, then they're like, we win, and then here steps in Bill, and the thing cannot duplicate Bill's wacky ass dance, and so it explodes.
Smoking.
So it explodes. And we were laughing so hard at that, and then like, okay, well, how does it end after that? I'm like, oh, freeze frame, but then like, oh, but freeze frame thriller ending, and Bill would turn his head, and he'd have like the glowing eyes. You're like, yeah. And I remember telling you that, and then...
Remember the idea I had?
Yeah.
Where we would take, it would become a dream sequence, where we'd take the glass and have the water go down, and this was back when Willow was a little baby, and we said, let's put a bald cap on Willow, and have her playing with robots, and it all be...
Oh, that's amazing.
Like a dream of baby
amazing.
Bill, like playing with toys.
And then it was going to fade out, and then I'm like... And then it should
the
fade
Willow
back
looks and does the thriller out.
Yeah!
Fades back in and turns around and
Honestly, I'm still down for that.
What are we waiting on? Like, that's amazing.
I was like, that was like the biggest bummer out of everything with T3 that we never got to do. I'm like, that would have been the most fun video ever.
And that's how we didn't get famous.
Right.
That was that moment.
But
Oh my god.
that song is
I love
It's
that
a banger.
song.
so much fun.
That may be my favorite song on the album.
And it's fun to play live. It always gets laughs,
Yeah.
especially at the end.
It goes places,
Yeah.
man.
And it doesn't even have a chorus.
No.
There's no chorus in that song. That's weird.
Yeah, it's a vaguely chorus, but I mean...
I mean, if you count the la-las, maybe. It's got a pre-chorus.
Well,
It's got a pre-chorus,
that's what it
yeah.
is,
And then it just jumps back into... you know.
That's some progressive songwriting right there.
It is.
That was the day I knew I didn't like Ken. Because Ken was like, I don't like that robot song. I was like, why the fuck don't you like the robot song?
It's not about me.
Well, because it gets too weird. Like, it starts as one thing, it turns into something else. Like, you must like boring music, man.
That's the
Give
song.
me a
Go listen to your yacht rock.
give me a 4 on the floor beat or nothing.
That's the song to me that feels like two songs smashed together, but it works just kind of...
Yeah.
It's like 3 songs smashed together, honestly.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, see, that one was because the part I'm playing, you actually wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had I always feel like that song was like a competition to who was gonna do the most complicated thing. Because you wrote the bass line, I'm like, yeah, but doesn't it sound cool like this? And then you're like, fine. And the bass line you actually write, you actually play on it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite pieces of music.
Well, thank
The
you.
I love that.
It can fake people out into thinking I know what I'm doing.
It sounds like you know what you're doing.
It's almost
I know
like,
better.
What do you
but
call
it
that?
sounds
Pull on or something?
Yeah.
Like, or at least a fake pull on.
Yeah. That's a fun one because that's another one that I've got video and audio of the progression of that song.
Yeah.
I made that pop-up video at one point and be like, here it starts from the beginning. Because, yeah, it had a completely different, like, you were playing some kind of, it sounded like a circus theme. I was like, doo, 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 kind of weird thing coming on, and Derek's just like, tut, 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 and it's just like, okay. Then you see Travis on the floor, like, jerking around with the tones.
knobbies.
Yeah, and then he found that, and I'm like, ooh. And then it just kind of went from there. It was good.
That's when we were practicing in Derek's bedroom in
Yeah.
his parents' house. going, how did they let us do that for 2
Yeah.
years?
Nice folks for letting us.
Yep. They were.
We were loud as shit.
And then buying a whole building.
Yeah.
I think they realized it could have been much worse.
He could be on the street doing drugs. Instead, he's doing this.
I mean, I guess his parents never came by, but I know your mom came to a few shows, and of course she's seen some of the heavier bands that we played with and stuff. And it's like, we could be this.
Yeah.
We could be doing this stuff, and really.
Instead, we're
You know,
prancing around in
standard,
colors, singing about animals and food.
But then we'd still have people coming to the shed, like 2 hours before it's even dark, calling the cops, having them like come and like.
I don't think anybody ever called the cops when we were in the shed. They did when we were in the garage.
In the garage,
I
yeah.
could have sworn one time they knocked on the door in the shed.
I think so.
I don't know.
Maybe his dad, maybe once, but I don't think it was because we were loud. I think he just.
See if we wanted lemonade.
Are you sure?
What a nice guy.
Oh,
Are
I
you
get
sure
you boys
wasn't-
anything?
Are you sure it wasn't grape soda?
It could have been.
Uh,
Want some Fanta?
But yeah, it was like before dark, and they were like, yeah, someone was complaining about us, and it was just like, what?
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nobody complained when that one kid came in with his dubstep stuff.
Oh, I complained. No, it was fine, and but it kept on going.
Oh my
that was my
God,
that was
I
my
forgot
only
about
qualm
that.
because what's his? It's Derek's nephew.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember your name, bud. I'm sorry. Nice guy.
You
Like
probably
it.
can't remember us either. Like,
No, he does. I saw him
Really?
recently, or not recently, but last time I was over there.
Does he still like the dubstep?
He does, and yeah, so he's playing his stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. But then he's like, all right, now I have more tracks. I'm like, no, okay. It's been 45 minutes. I'm like, Derek, shut this down. I'll listen to this later, not right now.
No, the beats. Hey, where you at? Well, I'm at my parents' house. Yeah, we're at practice. Well, I can't come. Dude, you're fucking 30 feet away from us. Like, fucking come to practice, bro.
It's code for I'm on the shit. Or
Yeah.
Or I don't
Yeah,
want
it's
to do it.
bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, dick.
some really good fried chicken I'm eating right now. Y'all can kick rocks.
No, nothing beats going, like when me and Robert went out there over the summer and literally parking the vehicle in front of where he's laid to rest and walking away. like we literally parked probably.
Yeah, we came down the aisle. I had like a map kind of thing. It's like, all right, he's at this address, which is a weird thing to say.
Where's his apartment at?
Yeah, so we're pulling up, and we're like, we're driving back and forth, and then we pull up, and then I'm like, I think, finally, I'm like, I think it's this way. We go way down here, and we come way back, and I go, oh no, here it is. It's like, yeah, literally like right in front of his car.
Oh, that's funny.
And I'm like, I guarantee you that he would have just been stuck and watching us go,
Fucking clowns.
Basically.
what are you doing?
Leafy Illusion.
Yeah, that was the next one. Yeah.
I know our track listing, man.
Oh, do you now?
I'm impressed.
Yeah, I listen to my own music in a godly amount, like, and I still just like, if I like meet somebody new that seems kind of cool, like, listen to my album, listen to
Oh,
this.
I mean, I show it to my kids every year. It don't matter.
The album.
There will be a test.
No. But no, so one of the like live performances that I show every year is us doing Derek's Friend and at the Village.
Yeah.
And not the one where I have the second shirt underneath. It's the straight up hairy version.
The full bill.
Yeah. They're like, you look so happy. I'm like, yes, teaching is my backup to my backup.
You kids are my plan C.
Yeah. The Leafy Illusion is another one that... A lot of songs on this album, I have a hard time when I'm listening to it trying to wrap my brain around what I want to listen to, because there's so many lead lines smushed in. I'm like, my brain's focused on the keyboards. Nope, now it's on the guitar. Now it's on the bass. Now it's on the vocal. And it's just, there's so much stuff that intertwines in there, and it just sounds neat.
And it intensifies so good at that almost towards the end point when we just hit that 4/4, just kind of power chord measure, and there's that. I know there's a lot more in that song that you're doing than you can hear. Like, at the like heavy part of the song.
Yeah.
But I still love it. Like, it gives me goosebumps every time I hear that part of the song.
I'm just hitting one string. I'm hitting an open G and just going ham on my way on my wah pedal.
Oh, and Derek's drums in it, they're like this mix of, he's missing drums, I think, in there. Like, there's certain little things that he's messing up on, but it actually kind of adds to the depth of like even like the snare hits that he misses almost makes like the next one better.
Yeah.
You know, and then
just a note, he's jazzing back there.
Yeah, exactly. He's jazzing.
Yeah.
I don't remember how this song like came about. Did I start it, like write it, or
No? Nick and I started writing it.
Okay.
We were at. It's when you lived not across the street from me, but when you lived down by where that McDonald's is off of.
When I lived with David.
Yeah.
That wonderful chapter.
Yeah. No, not there.
At Fairview. McDonald's,
Fairview.
Yeah.
And I remember we met like maybe twice, and we were playing around in your living room. You started writing that bass line, and so I started writing lyrics to it. And then when we would have practices, because I'd always pick you up and take you to practices, I remember like talking to you about that. I'm like, I have some song ideas and lyric ideas for this, and you're like, oh yeah. So we started throwing stuff back and forth. But the one thing that was in there that's in that song that you definitely did write lyrically was, because I was talking, it's going to be about vegetarians. This, and do you remember which one it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was if cows weren't meant to be eaten, they wouldn't be made of meat.
Yeah.
Like,
good line.
That's going in there.
That's such a good line.
That was actually something that somebody else said back when I was in school, but it always stuck with me. I always thought that was funny. Because I knew some dickheads that were really mean to vegetarians and shit. And they like actually printed out like this thing and would like put it in front of their binders. Jesus. And it would just be this like picture of like cows in a field, and it would say if cows weren't meant to be eaten, they wouldn't be made out of meat.
That's a hill to die on.
Right. And I think there was another less like good one that just said cows live to be eaten.
Yeah. That's another one of the songs on the album that the tones and everything that you guys are putting on there are what make it. Because if you had anything else, that and Rated R both, like any other guitar sound, it wouldn't. I mean, it would still be okay, but it just doesn't have that to it.
I think of all the ones, if I could go back and redo, is this one. There's parts like, because I'm using that delay effect on the verse, and it does like when I did it live, I did it the way I wanted to do it, where it'd be like doo 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 doo, like it. But on the album, it's just doo 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 doo, silence, bum bum, like, and it's just that silence says a lot. And it's one of those that I didn't figure out how I wanted it to sound until after we recorded it.
No, not like
and then there's a part leading into the second chorus that's just not there.
Yeah,
I think it just got missed when y'all went to the studio.
Yeah, it's just the bass. There's no guitar over.
Well, there's one guitar going.
Oh yeah.
It's the bubble verse. I like that one.
I really played a lot with sounds on this album, to hide what talent I don't have. But silly sounds.
This is your first time. I mean, because like you said, we had Unemployed sort of, and Mama's Boy wrote that, but this was the first like fresh, new, from the ground floor.
This is what I'm bringing.
Yeah. Like,
weird sounds.
Bill get a fight about that. It's like, I'm doing the weird sounds.
I'm doing the weird sounds.
We're both,
Bat sounds.
Bats. Lots of bats. This is the one that we only played that maybe twice live, and the only thing that really bummed me out about it is and I should have sampled it, the intro sing that was on Derek's his other microchord, the brown one. And I should have like recorded a whole bunch of variations of that and just sampled it, because we'd never bring that with us. It's like, you have 2 keyboards already. We don't need a third one just for one note,
That's how you know we're not professional.
Yeah, so it wouldn't ever sound the same live. And I'm like, ugh.
I do like that sound.
Bizarre weirdness.
It's a fun song though.
Yeah. What is this?
What is this?
No, this should be the mic.
August.
Oh, is it August? Okay.
August.
Here's the other song. We'll find
This was the one that this was the one we played with at the skate park.
We did play it there.
This was where that first came to light. I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
One of those couple of shows, yeah, because we were at a practice, and Derek was poking around on the keyboard after because you got called in, I think, to work.
Probably.
Yeah, and Derek's like, I can do drums on this, and he starts playing it, and I'm like, oh, there's a beat, keep doing that. And we started messing around with that. And
Didn't you actually have like a sheet of paper that you were reading when you were doing that?
Yeah. Because I was like, I don't give a shit. I'm reading this straight off of here because it was a tongue twister.
It's gonna be slam poetry.
Yeah, but yeah, in late 2009, at least 2 or 3 shows we threw that in there, and then we didn't touch it again for like a year and a half.
I know we played it at the infamous nightclub in Little Rock.
On the rocks.
On the rocks, that was it. Woo wee.
To the Little Monsters.
Yeah, for a crowd of the other band.
Yeah. Yeah, where they're like, yeah, I assure you, we're doing live music on Wednesday night. This place is always packed. I'm like, but on a Wednesday? And they're like, yeah, it's gonna be. I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll have you guys play. You bring an opening band. We'll start at like 8, and it'll be good. Hey, there's nobody here. Yeah, we're gonna push it just a little bit. Okay, 8:30, 9, 9:30,
11.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, this is way too late for a Wednesday. It'll be fine. I'm like, no, it's not fine. It's not fun at all. It's awful in here. You guys were all super trashed.
Yes, we were. Well, what else are we gonna do?
Yeah, right.
Here's a bunch of free booze, and we're gonna push your show back 3 hours. Yeah, I'm gonna get drunk.
You know, back when we were actually getting discounts on alcohol.
Yeah.
God, it's crazy to think about like how when we started, price of a ticket to get in just about anywhere was like $3. Then it went to 5. Then it went to 7. Then towards the time we got at the end, it was like almost a flat $10 to get into a show, and you could also see the progression in the price of Downtown Music's fucking tall PBR because it started at $1.
Oh, for the tall, yeah.
Yeah, it was $1, and then it was like $1.50. And I think towards the end it was like $3. It's like what's the point? Hey, come on, guys.
They got bigger and better, I guess. Not the beer, but the venue.
And then they left.
Yeah.
It's still a sad day.
Yeah, I love Downtown Music.
Me too.
Yeah, the renovation was definitely good.
Yeah.
I liked not playing with my back to the front glass.
On West Capitol?
Yeah.
Oh, this band sucks.
Right next to the chicken wings place.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good place, though.
Oh man.
Yeah, the sushi place on the other side.
Do you remember one of those shows we played at? It was. I think it was one of the Battle of the Bands shows that we were at. That some asshole was not vibing with us, so he kept opening the door behind when we were on the back. So the door right behind where Derek was playing, he kept opening the door out, and then people kept complaining because like now sound is blowing out into the city. I'm like, stop doing it. He's like, oh, I'm just gonna leave this open. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Bunch of douchebags. Sorry, people don't like your shitty metal band, and they're preferring our weird, funky music.
It was also where our clothes tried to get ripped off.
Yeah.
That was a good show, though.
It was a very good show.
That was Soundstage, wasn't it?
No, that was at
Just
downtown.
downtown.
After it got renovated.
That was when it was like all the girl bands and T3.
Yep.
Oh, Always April and Romantic Disaster.
Yeah.
Disaster and Bird of the Past. Yeah.
Yes.
All lady singers and me. So it still worked.
Yeah, that was the show where when we ended, we like fell on top of each other, and then they were just like touching us all over.
Yeah, there was
Me
people
too.
who were
Hashtag me too.
a little
Time's up.
got a little extra drunk, and yeah, you watch
What
that video.
ladies?
There's multiple times they're grabbing at me, they're grabbing at Bill, they about pulled Bill's pants off. They destroyed Mike in his manly grandma costume. Like he got too close to the edge of the stage, and they were just like, and he's like, all right, this is happening, I guess.
That's definitely a unique feeling with that show, like kind of really actually feeling like we had.
I feel like that also was like the most people that were ever there.
That was a lot. That was a big.
That was one of
it
the
was a
bigger
packed
ones,
show,
yeah. It was a fun one. Good, fun show.
Good shows ended in gropings.
Oh yeah, I think that was one of the first times I really like, because I remember the singer for the Romantic Disaster was sitting at the bar, and I was like, who's this chick dressed like, like wasn't really thinking about the fact she was in the band. I'm like, this is weird.
Girls don't play music.
Right? Well, like she's not very attractive to me, and I see her like get on stage and start playing.
Oh, the
like,
power of the stage.
This is like
The most beautiful woman I've
yeah,
ever seen.
right.
It's alright, that's what Bill did. Bill sees her singing and he goes, okay. He puts his banana suit on, he goes right in front of the stage. He's like, dude, these hot kicks.
Your move, girl.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
I actually bought Always April's album after that. Well, it wasn't a bad album. It was decent.
It was fun stuff. They were very high energy, grassroots kind of
Punk.
They're not calling it a Cersei.
something like this. Somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. They just kind of popped up.
But Romantic Disaster didn't have anything. Then they changed their name to Kiss Kiss Romantics, and I still haven't been able to find anything by them.
No, because really what that ended up, what I could find is that girl. I don't remember what her name is, but she actually has like a solo career, and that was her. This is my side thing, and then it went through like lineup changes and things, and then name changes, and then she just went back to doing her stuff. But yeah, I can't find her either.
I remember them actually being pretty.
They were very good.
legit.
They were like more of like a touring group. They were like out of Oklahoma or something.
Somewhere like that.
Oh, who was that punk band that we played with a few times? The lead singer's name was like Shua.
Oh, Kick Tree.
Kick Tree. They were fun.
Yeah.
No, nothing beats the PlayStation 1 guys.
Oh, Mafia Soy.
Mafia Soy,
Yes. Yeah, watching them
Hit
come
play,
with like
hit
an
the
old
X
school
button.
tube TV and a PlayStation 1.
It took 40 minutes to set up what you can do in 5 in your living room. Like, and then when we were getting set up after they played, they're like, "Hurry up!"
I'm like, no.
That was probably like the biggest thing that like the local music I guess doesn't really understand is like the need for stage depth. So you could just
you can
like
backline and
you can have all the crap up there and just pull the drums off.
well, it felt like for the most part, venues in Central Arkansas just didn't know what the fuck they were doing in any aspect.
Every day is their first day.
Yeah, it's like, why would we need to be able to backline? Why would we have a bar that wasn't cash only? Why
would we need more than one bartender for Steve Vai?
Yeah, it's just. Why would we pay bands when we can give them cheap booze
And
exposure?
Promotions and
Yeah.
not promotions, yeah, exposure.
Yeah, like it's no wonder almost every venue closed down because there was such piss poor management. Save for a couple, I just didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Or can you hear yourself? No.
Well, I don't know how to fix that.
Wow.
So 3, 2, 1, go.
No.
Remember,
You want to pay an extra $30? I got this 1980s VHS recording of you.
Blown monitor. Can you hear yourself? No, the monitor is out.
you could see blood vessels popping in Derek's like head every time we'd go into Plan B, and he'd see where the fucking sound guy was.
Oh,
Like,
me
this
too.
is not where you go.
Me too.
And then they had those giant TVs playing movies right behind us. But
Jesus
it's kind
Christ.
of
Like Ghost Rider one time.
I remember sometimes I would just turn around and watch TV.
It's like at least turn them off while we're playing.
I think
Jeez.
like Kung Fu Hustle was on once.
With the homeless man and like no heat.
That's right, we brought the heat.
God. Like, honestly, that was probably the coldest venue we've ever played. Like, even my fat ass got cold.
Well, it was because at least one of the times we were playing there, you were wearing like nothing. So
That's true.
I remember
You
going.
met your wife there though, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, there you go.
I remember going shopping for that outfit for you. We went
God.
like walking around at Walmart through the women's section and like, oh, there's a
My man
there's a
needs some
cute top.
clothes.
There it is. And you get those booty shorts. And you're like, I'm gonna stick a cut down here. And I'm like, all right, that's it.
And breakaway pants.
I like your security shirt too. Was it
Okay.
security or yeah?
No, nothing beats. They're like, "Where's the cowbell?" Oh, I got you.
Oh, gross.
I'm also pretty sure Derek's right that I like part of me like fell out when I sat back down.
That's so aguas, huh? Yeah.
It's like, you mean emotionally or physically? Like, it's big coming of age moment for you.
Yeah.
What does Aguas mean? Is it just like warning or
Watch out.
watch out?
Yeah, it's Mexican slang for watch out, danger.
Not water.
No, agua is water.
The song says water!
Water!
I mean, that's what I know.
It's,
Yes,
it's
yes,
actually
Bill.
a story told by the Wicked Witch of the West.
There you go.
Danger.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, fun song. You know,
It's a rap.
And another fun thing that I think me and Travis have disagreements about is I like the clipping.
That's what I said. I was like, we're going to fight about this one too.
Because like when it starts, like right before you start singing, there's that like.
It happens a couple times throughout.
It almost sounds like paper's getting ripped, or like you're holding it, like blowing into it or something. And I think it adds charm to the song.
We could fix it where there's a weird sound, but I don't want it to blow up my speakers. Every time I turn, I always have to turn. I'm like, it's like,
it's obnoxious.
And I remember not being there for the recording, and I could have swore somebody said that you were going to play the bass part too, and I don't hear the bass in that at all. Like I don't think there's any bass in that song.
There might not be.
I don't know. The only extra thing I played on that album was there's one part on Rated R. I think there's another part where you're having some issues on timing the keyboard, and you went to go like get some food or something. I was looking at Robert, I was like, can I just fucking do this real quick? I don't even know if you know this. This may be this one part.
About to have a fight here. That's what's about to happen.
I was just like, can I just fucking do this part? He's like, yeah, it's fine. So there's one specific part on Rated R where I did the keyboards.
Hey, I'm just the person that comes up with the ideas.
Hey, you got ideas, man. That's right.
Idea master. Yeah. There might not be actual
back and
bass.
listen.
I think it's keyboard bass because there's.
Yeah, it's mostly me.
Yeah.
Because there's a. But yeah, it's really low in the mix. But I think it's all.
Yeah.
Because but you used to hit your.
Oh, your little 808 drumming would piss me off so much. I'd be like, there's already bass in the fucking song. Stop it, Bill.
Yeah. I can't. There's a guitar part in there that I really like that you always do, but Darren mixed it weird. It's really low in the mix. Yeah, because he did the in favor of the chuggingness that you're doing.
Yeah.
Which it's fine, but I always wanted it up higher so you can hear that because when you play that live, I'm like, we're going somewhere, and then the song ends. You're like,
Speaking of stealing, I think that was just that lick was just straight up from All About the Benjamins.
Nice.
The Dave Grohl remix.
Fuzz bubble.
Yeah.
Oh, bad boy, where have all your cool rock bands gone?
Same place all cool rock bands have gone.
Well, Fuzz Bubble was supposed to be the next big thing, man.
Yeah.
I think they did like a video game score or something. I don't know.
That's where the money's at.
I
I didn't know there was no bass on that song though.
I can't tell where it is.
I don't think there is. I think it's all keyboard.
Yeah. Keyboard and that guitar line.
The duck redux.
Yeah. Redux. I get it.
There was somebody, I don't remember who it was. It was probably Nick, who we were playing shows. They're like, I don't want to keep playing Dog. It might have been Derek. Didn't want to play Dogwas. But we just put out, the YouTube video of it, and I kept showing it people, and I'm like, well, let's put this in here so people know what it is. But then Derek started playing like live drums to it, and I think that sounds way better. I don't know. I liked it more. On the CD, I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But playing it live, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
It hit harder. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I just like the production on this because it just sounds like a lo-fi like mixtape that some guy in the hood would hand you, like, man, listen to my
Listen to my shit.
Listen to my rap about Star Wars references.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Being outside smoking a cigarette like after playing a show, I have never been asked for more cigarette butts, and been like approached by like some random guy on the street, like, man, check out my freestyle, and it'd be about like God and shit. And you're like, that's dope.
That's dope.
Appreciate that.
Take the rest of my pack and leave me alone forever. Like,
how many minutes of silence does this buy me?
This is how he gets his cigarettes. He just starts Christian rapping at people.
Oh man.
Oh, Juanitas.
What was next on here? Like letters.
This is such a fun song. I didn't care for this song until the backing vocals.
All right.
It just.
I get what you're saying.
It made it. It was, I thought, the weakest song until that gave it.
The song that I wrote is the weakest. No, I agree. It is. It's a very generic, because it's basically.
It's shout.
It's shout. It's crocodile rock.
Yeah.
It's like 3 or 4 songs smushed together, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do this, and it's very generic. It's very
some locomotion.
But
locomotion. That was the other one.
Yeah. But it's just like all that familiarity in there. It's like we have no business stealing these songs and mashing them all up like this.
But the what it turned into, because I remember the first time I heard it, was like, well, Derek went and he did some vocals. And at first I was like, this is amazing. Like this that was the sauce it needed. Like
yeah. Yeah, because I remember thinking we need to put some backing vocals. Derek said he would come do that, but again, this was like the last day that we had the mixer. And I had been kind of annoyed with Derek throughout the week because this was the time that he was drinking a little bit much.
It was a strained week recording with him.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But after he was done with drums, I was like, okay, just get out of my face, you know. But then I'm like, I'm doing backing vocals because he had texted me. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to do the vocals. I'm like, there's backing vocals if you want to do it. He goes, yeah, let me come in and do that. And he came in, a little sauce, not a lot, but he came in and he's like, I have some ideas for like letters. I'm like, all right. And he goes, yeah, just put me in there. And I'm going to record like 3 or 4 tracks. I'm like, 3 or 4 tracks? Why? And then he's threw him out there, and I'm like, and he goes, all right, bye, and just leave. I'm like, okay, bye, you piece of shit.
Here's my talent.
Yeah, that was the thing.
You're welcome.
He always make me mad. It's like he'd roll into a practice 4 hours late. He'd do this, but if he'd just be like,
4 hours late and drunk.
Bye, and just knock it out. But yeah, it squished it. It made everything just. I'm like, oh, this is a different song now.
I think one of the reasons I don't like it on the album as much is my guitar sounds like shit.
Oh.
It sounds like shit. I remember listening to it and go, did Darren even look at this? Like, you can barely hear it. Like,
I love it for what it is, but I do hear what you're saying, and
I think it's the worst mix song.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. We didn't give him any direction when we were in there. We just like make it sound good.
So
maybe he's like, all right, there's an acoustic guitar, there's an electric guitar. What's the whatever?
Yeah.
I'm just doing this.
it's one of like the last 2 songs of the album are the 2 songs that I'm like the most proud of, like my bass line that I come up with.
Mm-hmm.
But like letters, it also feels incomplete to me because there's so much in there. And I know I put out ideas like when we were still doing practices of things that I wanted to throw in, but I just never have because it just got done. But I still like if we re-record that one, I would love to just get a complete like do the verses the same, but there's parts in there that I definitely know where I can spice it up a little more.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I love the song as it is, but I mean, yeah, there's definitely things that I could do in there.
We only played this one live like once, didn't we?
Maybe twice.
I remember the one time we played it at Juanita's, Derek's drums fell apart.
Oh yeah.
Snare stand.
Wasn't Mike like standing there holding his?
Yeah.
That was the village, wasn't it?
That was at Juanita's.
Juanita's,
Okay.
okay.
Juanita's.
And then with no like ear protection for Mike
Oh yeah, no, he was
Oh,
up in the
gosh.
mix, just
in
getting
it.
blasted.
Yeah, he ran up there. He's like, I'll hold it, and then he's like, I'll do it for the rest of the show. I'm like, are you sure? We're playing like 3 more songs. He's like, it's fine.
What a pro, man.
Yeah, Derek's like, I remember at one point he said, he's like, yeah, at first I was trying to be light, and then Mike's just like, just hit him. He's like, and Mike's like, squatting there and like in a weird power stance.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
But yeah, fun song.
Yeah.
That was fun. I like that one.
I think we discussed like where that solo was supposed to go to for a little while, and just kind of decided to make it that just generic,
Just
like
following
the
vocal
vocal line, yeah. Cues from the Green Album.
Yeah, that's the only song that we do that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because I will follow the bass line all the time. I'm constantly stealing your bass line for vocals, but now the guitar stole the vocals for.
Well, I think it fits too because the way the song is now, it has a very old school radio sound to it,
Yeah.
and that was how they did a lot of stuff. Was okay, here's our verse or whatever, and then now for a brief pause on the action, this thing is going to do a solo. Here's the trumpet solo that's just the vocal line again. And so it was very fitting for the sound of like how it would have been structured.
Yeah. That works.
And then I wanted to do something stupid with it, where I was like, I want to tune my guitar way down at the end and just.
The whine you did was pretty fantastic.
It adds to the savagery of it.
Yeah, I hear a lot of shit in it now when I listen to it. I'm like, the timing's off on my foot. Like, yeah, I'm going in when I shouldn't. Like, it's the one I want to redo the most, just personally.
For sure.
When I was listening to it this week, I made a realization that, like, when I originally wrote it, I'm like, what's the What's the worst thing? What's the worst things that you could pull out of like you end a relationship with somebody and you're like, here's all these crap that you didn't want to say to them.
So mean.
If they're so mean, and I'm like, here's all these terrible things. I'm like, you did this and this and this, but I'm a nice guy and I didn't say it to you. And then as I'm listening to this years later, I go,
it just turns into fat shaming.
well, there's that. But as I'm listening to it now, and I go, you know what? There's maybe a couple things in there that like the other person's terrible. I'm like, all it's pointing out is like the person's point of view who's singing it is a complete douchebag. You're like, no, you're the asshole. I'm like, oh.
That's called maturity, Robert.
Okay. Well, because I mean, it's like all these mean things that they're doing. It's like, it doesn't matter how crappy they are. I'm like, you're retaliating.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, God.
Yes, I wipe my ass with those towels.
And you started at 100 because you run over the cat. I mean, that like at the beginning,
setting the scene.
Suck it, you stupid cat.
Like the rest of it doesn't even seem so bad.
No. Yeah, that's the one song that I've talked to a few people. And they're like, "That's not my favorite." I'm like, "Why?" Because it makes you sound really mean. I'm like, "But it's not me. These are not things that I do." I'm
These
like,
are
I have
characters.
never wiped my ass in somebody's towel and let them shower in it. I'm like, that's terrible. I'm like, oh, well, I don't like it. I'm like,
Will it paint you in a bad light?
You don't like good comedy, sir.
The name of the band is The Throbbing Testicle. What did you want?
yeah, where do you think we are here? We're not up here. No.
This is not highbrow entertainment.
We won't resort to songs about balls, but we'll resort about this. We'll dance around it.
We'll kill your cat.
Keep it clean.
Absolutely. Rounding out this puppy, Bovine Revolution, which to me feels like the best way to end this album because it's
Such a good song.
It's such a good closer.
it is it's way bigger than
You started like originally. It was based on your musical idea, wasn't it? Like you.
I think. I had something small, and then you guys took it and ran.
I always feel bad. 'Cause I always feel like you had ideas for how the song could go, and I remember hearing it and go, ooh, ooh, ooh. But what if this? And I think you were just like, asshole.
That's fine because the more I think about it, I'm pretty sure the line that I had was very similar to another song I had. So the fact that you guys took it and branched out, I'm like, okay, now we can never get in trouble for this. So I'll just hide back down here. They wrote it, not me. You know.
And I think you wrote your guitar part, and I think I wrote my bass line around that.
I think so.
And
Yeah, 'cause I think my guitar part's based on what he originally wrote.
And I don't know how the hell I wrote that bass line.
I
I don't know
think
where
your
I
bass
was
line's so
in my
good on
head,
that.
but yeah, that's one of the few things I'll look at that I've done and been like, I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, it's really good.
And then you put horns on top of it. Somehow.
Yeah, it
just like,
works.
here it is.
It classes the joint up.
It
Like,
does.
And I like the way the second verse takes, like, it's basically the exact same layout as the beginning of the song, but you actually sing through the part that, like, it starts off in the beginning and then goes on from there, and then, you know, there's just a lot of cool ups and downs in the song, and
it's probably our most like mature song, at least up to that point. Just a songwriting perspective, like it sounds like we really knew what we were doing.
except for we were really limited by production.
Yeah.
Like, I think that song could sound so much
for
better.
sure.
And that's one of the songs, like, I think they all deserve to sound like, I mean, I love them, but they could be elevated as far as production. I think that's the one right there that could like, just phenomenal if it got...
That was the first one I remember listening to. I was like, this is way bigger than we're supposed to sound.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't Open E at all.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is funny because when we started just sitting down just to write songs for an album, that was one of the first ones that we did. And maybe that's why it sounds so better, because between like October of the previous year all the way through, it was getting molded the entire way,
yeah.
kind of a thing.
I listened to a live record. I think it was Plan B. We played that song. I went, man, I played way too fast.
We tend to play
Yeah,
our songs
way
much.
fast.
I mean, I was out though. I was like,
Nick was doing
I was
everything.
way too fast.
Was that the first time we played that? I think the first time we played it was Plan B. 'Cause I remember I didn't have a solo for it,
right?
and I was like 20 minutes before I was supposed to get in the car. I'm like, good enough, go.
Yeah.
We were in our original multicolored like head shirts, like the original ones. I'm pretty sure. Like, it was one of our really colorful, like, themed shows almost.
Yeah, it was one of them. Yeah. Wait, was it for that one? No, I thought that was at the record show at downtown. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, we
I
played it in multiple
Whatever.
places. I'm sure I screwed the song up in more than one occasion.
I fucked up more than once, thank you.
Not that anybody came to that show. If we're talking about the same show, not that anybody came to it because there was, an ice storm like 2 days beforehand in February. But to me, that felt kind of ballsy that, we hadn't played in like 6 months, and here we're like, here's 3 brand new songs that you've never heard before. And we played, Bovine, Teef, and DTA all at that same show.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah. All thanks to that one Battle of the Bands we played the previous year where the entire crowd was just people for that metal band, and they were booing us and throwing shit at us, and they were not happy that entire thing. And that's what inspired the song.
I always wondered. Because I don't remember specifically without the lyrics in front of me, but it felt like there was 2 different topics. Is that accurate?
Pretty much, yeah. Because it's like, here's what I'm actually writing about, and then I'm like, okay, but this
Also
makes it
cows.
sound like whatever. I'm like, what can I put on top of it? I'm like, well, let's change the people to cows. Let's change this to this. And I'm like, there we go. Now it's a song about angry cows, when it's really about me being pissed off that we went to that show and everyone was all mad at us, going like, we're better. I'm like, look at us. We're outperforming you guys. Sorry.
I thought it was kind of a return to theme from like Magnolia, like it kind of goes full circle, where like the theme is kind of the same, where you're just dealing with people that just
Don't want
Don't want to do
to
it.
listen and...
well, they hear our name and they're just like immediately just shut off and scowl.
Yeah. It's like, hey guys, we're here to have fun. Let's dance.
They don't really get that bad.
Yeah.
We just, we're just named after a part of your body you're ashamed of,
Use the medical term.
And that's where the title of the album came from that you pulled out.
Yep.
You named it.
Well, it was... I thought it was a fitting title, because I know you wanted, like, there was like a history of kind of goofy, but going back to what we talked about earlier, that like there was these different influences on most of the songs. It was like, musically, don't just stand there, bounce around. So I thought it kind of encapsulated the whole experience.
Yep.
It was also a fun way to kind of throw in, because Robert would love to like poke at the crowd a little bit if they weren't, doing anything. It's like, it's okay to be alive, right?
Or don't, whatever.
You can feel things.
Yeah. Top to bottom, is the every time we write new songs, I'm like, this is my new favorite. This is whatever, and I'm liking like we're on an upward trajectory. But of all the things that we've completed, this is my favorite thing we've done from start to finish.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a complete project.
For sure.
I mean, it was just the first 10 songs that we wrote, but it worked.
It just feels like a complete album piece. Like
Yeah.
It does feel really complete.
The only thing about it that bums me out is that we didn't get to get it promoted out as well as we did the previous album. We played fewer shows, we were doing things, but that's because everyone was busy and life and stuff. So I feel like if anybody really listened to a lot of our stuff, they heard a lot of older stuff rather than this.
Oh,
Maybe.
It had, custom artwork.
right.
It felt like-
Mizuki?
Yeah.
Felt like the biggest package. Like, oh, this is for real. Like,
Yeah. I still
Hey.
have like stacks of those because the printing company overprinted it, and I was supposed to only get 100, and they gave me like 400, and I was like, what am I gonna do with this?
Also, I enjoyed the photo shoot at Playtime Pizza?
Playtime Pizza.
Yeah.
That we had no business being in there, and
Didn't Janet know somebody that worked there or something?
no,
or
we
you
just
did?
showed up, and since they've got teenagers running it, we're like, hey, we're a bunch of grown ass men. Can we?
Just
now
balled
that there's
in.
no kids in here, can we run around here and take some pictures? Yeah, okay.
yeah, guess whatever. Just
Like that's
don't break anything.
a huge red flag. Like, don't let these men weird. And then I'm full on. I'm on like my
We're not gonna smoke
green
drugs. I
pants and
promise.
everything. I'm like, we're just gonna dance around here and take a bunch of pictures. Is that okay?
Weren't we supposed to try to do that at the inflatable jump zone thing over there by the Walmart first? And they were like, no.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, y'all can't come in here because like y'all are grown ass men.
Yeah.
You see yourself, right?
Yeah. And so so I'm like, all right, well, we'll just take pictures down by the trolley again. But you were sick as shit, and every picture I have from that, you just look horribly miserable. I'm like,
I don't remember that at all.
yeah.
Probably because you were sick as shit.
I just have a bad memory. Like,
Yeah,
I don't remember a lot of
You were
specifics.
super sick, and so like a couple weeks later, like, let's try this again. Let's go to Playtime Pizza and let's attempt to get in there.
Like, is
Just
it
let us in.
the same thing where I was like punching Nick in the balls?
I was just thinking
No,
about
that was a
exact
different
same
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did also like the photo shoot around the fountain.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was some fun stuff.
Yeah.
That was the one where.
Oh, that was
punching
for
in
like
balls.
feel good, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're all like, I'm just like straight up jacking in the camera
Oh yeah. Well,
in a banana suit.
Straight up jacking in the camera.
well, you're laying across all of us, and yeah, he's just got
He's
his,
got
like,
right
he's
here,
right
like,
there,
right
right over it, man. Just owning it.
Some people are like, yeah, he's punching right with the balls. Other people are like, that's not what he's doing. I'm like, we're just gonna pretend that picture doesn't exist. That's what we're gonna do. Well, yeah, Janet took like 200 something pictures there, and you know, most of them don't work. But I mean, a lot of them were really great. But then part of it was, we'll see what kind of action shots we get, especially when we got in the ball pit, and everyone is just like, and it's just all blurry. But I'm like, whatever, we're throwing balls at each
I love
other.
the cover. Though.
Yeah, the cover's great.
Yeah.
That's what.
And then I like that there's the actual,
Yeah.
like, no, you know, picture,
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah, the reverse on the inside. See, these are the kind of things that since people don't put out albums anymore,
I miss it. I miss it so much.
this is. I was talking to you about it. This is my favorite part. I love making
Yeah.
music and performing live, but I like doing the promotions. I like putting this together. I like imagining what order do these songs need to go in.
I
How's
sure
the
am
flow
glad
go?
you like doing all
Me too.
that.
I don't have the visual eye.
That's my favorite part. I'll get an idea for something, and then I'm like, I file it away, and I come back, 6 to 8 months later, and it's funny because I'll do that, and I'll go, oh, this will work, and then I'll come back later and go, no, that would have been terrible. Glad I didn't do that. And then other times it turns into that. Fancy pants. What else? Anything else about that time, about recording it, about the album, thoughts? It's been 10 years.
It's been probably 5 years since I've actually listened to it.
No shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I don't have it on my phone. So the only one I have on my phone of our albums is the one with Unemployed on it.
Do you not have
I mean,
Oh, that's
Spotify
the-
or
like
anything?
YouTube, you can just
Yeah, you
listen
can-
to the album on YouTube
It's all on all the streaming.
Spotify.
Hang on. We're
Hey,
throwing,
kids.
we're throwing a lot of new info still. Hang on. He's got to get caught up.
It's on Apple Music.
You say I can get music
Yeah.
on my phone
Yeah, see there it
from,
is.
you said a cloud?
Yeah.
Is this the future?
I'm getting dizzy.
But yeah, I don't think I've ever
Bill
I think
doesn't
it's
even know how
been-
many albums he's been on. this is it, right?
I don't like this band. I'm just letting you guys know.
He's about to find out he's like a multi-platinum fucking winning artist.
I
He's
quit.
like, I did this?
I quit the band for a reason.
I took an extended break.
Meanwhile, in Japan, there's billboards of Bill going.
Banana suit. Selling.
Another beat's being told by the cokehead at the Village. Y'all be famous if you weren't playing here. Yeah. we also know that. We also know this, but we're also like we're either too far into whatever we're doing outside of music, or we don't have any money.
Yeah.
Unless you want whatever money you just spent on that coke you put in your nose, give it to us.